All right, I'm going to take it live. Going live. All right, it is live. We have a live critter out there. Everything's moving along. All right, welcome to the pre-stream, folks. All the fun that goes with it.
Glitch, glitch, glitch.
There you go. I found it.
Yeah, now you don't really need it.
No, I don't need it now. Now I know where it's at, though.
Yeah, and until next time.
Yeah, well, you know, all that lovely stuff, just, you know, creating joy and happiness and spreading the word of joy and happiness everywhere we go. Let's see what we got. Everything looks like it's working. Talk for a minute.
All right, I am talking. Ooh, I got a really cool comic here that was given to Sean. I definitely want to copy this and send it to you. Maybe it's something we could actually put up on the show. It's an old comic. One of Stephen Pastis, back when they still had comics in the Sunday paper. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Wouldn't make any sense if I tried to read it out, but it's fun.
Okay.
Oh, Pearls Before Swine. It's one of theirs.
Ah, okay. Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
All right, so we got everything there. Ding, 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 ding.
Trying to call the angels down?
Sure, let's give out some wings here. Giving out wings, man. I'm giving out wings.
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing!
All right, that seems to be working all right.
I gotta ask, is that a real bell or is that a recording of a bell?
That's a recording.
Interesting.
I wouldn't mind getting a real bell. I'd use that instead.
Yeah, go to the dollar store. They usually have them. They're very irritating when the kids find them.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I want one. All right, folks. Getting ready for the ultimate purge.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge. Your government thanks you for your participation.
It is purge time. Purge your body of all that is evil. Let's see. That's all I got. I got nothing else, man.
It sounded like a great start to something.
It was a great start, but it just sort of fizzled out. My brain went, yeah, I've got nothing for you right now. You know, you get this great idea, you start moving, the brain goes, yeah, I got nothing. Moving on. Go pick something else. Go. Next up, I don't know.
Coincidence? I think not.
There you go. As we pick through the little pre-stream here, sometimes the pre-stream is just full of all kinds of great stuff, and other times, well, it's like yanking teeth, man.
Or, you know, it's just so random it can't really be great, but it's not terrible either.
Yeah. Well, here's a piece of random for you. I'll play a short snippet of it. This is coming out later in the show. Come on. Oh.
If you can find it.
No, the volume's all the way down on it for some reason.
Oh.
Let's try that again.
There
you go. That's all we get. That's for later in the show.
Awesome.
It's got a very unique point in the show. A little reference point in the show for that one. Don't forget, folks, we are now at episode 499. Hey, ho, ho. We're coming down to the wire. We are at the wire. We are about to cross the line into 500 episodes.
Kind of exciting.
Yeah, it is.
We need the Blue Man to come and play.
I've got to go dig up. I've got to go dig up some of my old clips because 500 episodes is a milestone. So I got to go dig up some of my old clips from like episode 14, 20. When we did like episode 250 or 300, which was another major milestone. I dug up and I created a bunch of clips, and so I just got to go find out where I store them all so I don't have to re-clip stuff. So you can hear how bad the show used to be, and even a throwback to the show's original opening music.
Oh,
I mean, it's really sad. Although the original show's opening music could get me slapped with copyright on YouTube, but I'll play it anyway and see what happens. Well, it's music I didn't 100% have the rights to use. I thought I might have the rights to use it. It seemed like it was open source, but way back 10 years ago, it was might have been bordering on the edge of acceptable.
Yeah.
So since then, I've gotten more attention to making sure that I use licensed music and everything else as much as I possibly can. Occasionally I trip over the edge. I don't intentionally do it anymore.
Well, I think it also kind of helps that they're like super duper aware now. So you get all kinds of complaints and stuff if you don't.
Well, they've got robots searching the web for all that stuff. They got bots that are constantly looking for that stuff.
Makes me think of all the little bots in I don't know if you've ever watched the cartoon Mastermind or Megamind.
Megaminds, yes, Megaminds. I remember that.
Okay, well, when you talk about the little bots, I picture his little brain bots every time, and the funny sound they make.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what I picture flying through the internet doing all the work.
Oh, absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Actually, really liked Megamind. I think I made my kids sick of it because I would willingly watch it with them.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Here's for your Megaminds. Do it ahead, man. Do it ahead. Hey, we got 4 people on the line. Wow, look at that. Trolls hiding in the shadows.
Yep.
All right. We're getting down to the wire here. Not quite. We're still got a few minutes to go where we got to babble on and make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. Make sure everyone out there is hearing us okay. I have no idea.
Hopefully.
Well,
although if you trolls want to come out of the shadows and let us know, like just say, yeah, voice is good, sound is good, whatever.
Get out there and tell other people to come tune into the show. They get the entertainment in the beginning and they get the show and then a little entertainment in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the show itself is entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Can be. Especially when we start tripping over our own tongues.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just the way it all works.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my new fave.
Good night, left nut.
How many different clips can I play before the show starts out? Who knows?
Oh, we are being heard fine.
Oh,
excellent.
Good. Okay. Well, that's good to know. At least somebody's there.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we got? Got a couple more minutes. Another minute and a half, and then we can jump into some early music and let it roll on up to the showtime.
I think I finally understand why teachers have so many pro D days.
Oh, there we go. I forgot to do that.
Now that I'm homeschooling my kids, I get it. The teachers are burnt out just as much as the students. And the teachers need those days to just chill.
Play catch up to their work.
Mm-hmm.
Play catch up to the work they've got all lined up and ready to go.
Yeah, there are days when I don't even get to do my own work, man.
All right, well, let's rock and roll. Let's bring it up, doing some really good music, some bad singing, and pull us into showtime.
In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time.
Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, we'll move it right along. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger, just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine? Most definitely mine. Story, don't even have my own. Yeah, I search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time. Oh yeah. Alrighty. Well, that brings us right up to the top of the hour, and it is time for a show. So, without too much further ado, let's roll this right along.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
At the end of a long road, it's episode 499, and we have plugins for showcasing art, stopping the updates, new thumbnails, acting like a user, cooking with gas, saving money, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever-lovely
Amber Overall.
And we have a great show for you today, but of course, a couple things right off the top. Uh-oh. Brain fart. That's the first thing right off the top. All right, there we go. How How the hell did that even get in there? It's never mind. My notes are messed up. Okay, it is. We are one episode. This is the last episode before we hit episode 500. That is next week. And just in time for this new episode, we have a new submission platform for submitting artwork to the show. I got inspired the last couple of days, and I actually got this all built out and set up. No longer with the haphazard way of submitting the artwork. You go in, you've actually got to register as a member and an art submitter on the site now. Once you register, you can come in, log in, and it'll be presented with a form that you can fill out, place the art in the proper category, upload the art, give it a title and description, make it much easier. And the bonus part to that is, of course, it gets all displayed. So this is a really cool feature here. All the artwork is now going to be displayed as it's uploaded. Now, it's going to take me a while to catch up. It turns out I've got over 100 pieces of art submissions back cataloged. And it's going to take a little while to get these put in here so that all the old artwork gets displayed in this catalog. This is another point, value for value model, folks. Anyone want to volunteer to help with this? I'll happily give you the access you need and access to all the artwork to get it up. At any rate, right now, one of the cool things up there is the episode 500 artwork that has been submitted to the show. You can go view it and see figure out which one we're going to pick as the primary art for the next show. You also get a chance to vote on it if you want. You can give it a star rating on what you think of all the different artwork. So it's a really cool one, and we'll talk about that plugin later in the show. So make sure you go check that out, folks. And for those of you who want to submit artwork, much simpler process. And now I don't have to figure out who the artist is. I'll automatically know because it will assign the art to your name. And the people will even be able to look up artist names in here and see what artwork they've submitted. And that'll take a while to get fully organized too, with all the back catalog of art. So thank you everyone who supported us during that process. So we got another one here. Just, of course, a quick reminder. We are now in the 48th week of 2 weeks to flatten the curve from the Rona, the greatest scam perpetrated on the entire world all at once. Prepare now for the annual holiday of only 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
So this is number 7 of 52 episodes for 2021. It's episode 499, last one before we hit 500. So I was wondering if we could do something cool, like playing episode backwards for the podcast listeners or something.
Episode backwards? Oh, I don't know, but it just sounds a little too demonic to me.
That sounds so much fun, though. Could you imagine having an option of this as a podcast, only completely backwards?
Oh, it's easy to do. If you can download the podcast, throw it into an editor. There's a little button in here. It says reverse it all, and it makes it all go backwards, and you play it backwards. That's how I created that clip. That was directly from one of our shows. I can't remember which one. I just randomly chose one, took a small clip out of it, and reversed it.
That is so cool.
So you can listen. You can listen to it backwards. You know, if someone wants it uploaded backwards, I'll reverse it one time and upload it backwards for everyone to listen to. And now I can imagine listening to an hour of this backwards, though.
No, but I could totally see someone going through it just to write down all of the demonic words.
Oh, the problem is that clip. I meant to get a shorter clip. That clip was 2 minutes long, and the last minute is you talking, which is really entertaining. And I can't fast forward my clips. I need to figure out how to get the clips fast forwarded. All right, so continue on with your little rant there. Sorry.
Yes, on to my bit about the zone app spaces. To create your own zone app space, please do the following: retreat from the world under a blanket, curl up on the couch, listen to some shows with no news hours, or listen to some books. Don't forget the drink. Irish tea is my current favorite, especially if it's got a shot of whiskey. And remember, don't be afraid to tell your kids to bugger off for an hour. It's totally allowed to demand that they not bother you unless they are broken, dying, or bleeding for the entirety of 1 hour. Maybe help them to create their own zone-up spaces and walk away quietly while they are arranging and setting it up. You'll more than likely get about an hour all to yourself this way. Just don't crumple any chip bags or anything. And remember, Remove all social media and mainstream news from your zone out time, even if you're just turning stuff off. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, chip bags are dangerous. Might also consider, a meditation, as I'm slowly working myself back into going meditations. I actually managed to get one in last night.
Oh, nice.
All right, so where do we go from here?
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
Absolutely. We do have some WordPress news. Some of it's only tidbitty, but hey, we got some stuff for you. All right, this one I think we covered already, but since it's hitting the news in major ways, remember if you're an Elementor user or if you've been considering Elementor, they are about to crank the price massively. So if you want a good deal on it, you want to buy it now. They're going to honor whatever price you buy it at now before they raise it for an indeterminate amount of time. They've not ruled out the fact that they might raise it, but if they actually ever raise it on me, because I'm well beyond their 25 site limit for the price I pay, which is what it's going to be, I'll have to abandon them and move on to something else because there's no way I could pay $1,000 a year for this thing. And some of the arguments I've saw against it, well, what if you can't afford $1 per site if you're building 1,000 sites? Well, that's, per site, but most of the time you build a site and it's gone. It's done. You don't continue collecting money off that site once you build it out for people. That's the one thing that many of these arguments forget. At any rate, this is a really good article describing it, their plans, and some discussion down at the bottom about what people think about it and how they feel that this company is handling it. So you want to catch up on that little sort of tidbits, pop in and take a look at this article.
So remember the date that you need to get it by if you want to get into Elementor before the price hike is March 9th.
Yeah, say sometime in March. So it's coming down pretty quick. Okay, the next article I've got here for you is Easy Digital Downloads 3.0 is in beta now. The 3.0 version. I've been building out a website recently using Easy Digital Downloads, and I'm finding it to be very, very nice. And it's at 2.8 or 9 or something. I can't remember where it's at. But it sounds like they've got a new version coming out. I'm hoping they don't mess things up too badly, because by the time I finish this, since it's in beta now, it means that they're about to go to release candidate, which means it's probably less than a month away from being released, which is about the time frame for finishing out this site I'm working on. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. I got to dig deeper into this and find out what sort of problems or issues I might be facing. But if you're using Easy Digital Downloads, know that there is a new version coming down the pike, which is a major upgrade.
I don't know much about Easy Digital Download, but
well,
it's been around for a while.
I've used it off and on over the years. It's been around. It's one of the early plugins in the ecosystem. I think Justin Tadlock originally created it, and he's a really great programmer. And then he sold it off, and as he did with a few of his plugins. I can't remember. I might be wrong on who created it, but it's a really great plugin. Been around for 10 plus years, and it's done nothing but improve over the years. I've used it a couple of times, and it worked half the time for what I needed to do. This time around, it's more efficient than it used to be.
Cool.
Okay, if you have a favorite plugin out there, this article here from Torque Magazine, Plugin Madness 2021 is taking nominations for your favorite plugin. So you can go nominate your favorite plugin in the following 4 categories: marketing plugin, maintenance plugin, optimization plugin, e-commerce plugin. They take all the top nominations and they run a competition throughout March, and then they'll land on the ultimate plugins in each category. So, you nominate your plugin, then vote for your plugin. Just thought I'd throw that one out there since we are a plugin show. It's kind of, pertinent. What are the plugins we've recommended that you turned out you fell in love with? Go recommend them here.
So is this a yearly thing or is this a new thing?
No, it's an annual thing. It's
an
annual thing.
That's a really cool idea. I like it.
They've been doing it for a couple, 3 years. I usually miss it. I usually miss all the information on it. This year I caught it. So, all All right, the next one, WordPress 5.7, the next iteration of WordPress Madness is coming down the pike, and they are going to be changing a couple things. One of them, I kind of like the idea of what they're doing. They're going to change the login screen or the change password screen, and they're going to make it so that it no longer looks like it's the only password you can use, and they're going to put a button there that says generate a password, so you don't have to accept whatever one it pops up. You can generate one or actually wipe it out and type in something more usable to you. You know, because remember, you can create a password out of a short phrase, like 2 or 3 words, that is near impossible to hack if you throw a couple of characters in there.
Oh.
You know, there are some really cool ways to create passwords that are near impossible to hack, but very easy to remember.
Yes, there are.
So there's a couple other things coming down the pike. You'll want to go read up on what's coming down 5.7 if you want to stay ahead of the curve on that. Next article I got here for you is WordPress search trends for 2020. Good for plugins, bad for terms. What this is here, this is an article you're talking about the main keywords that were searched for when searching for WordPress. You know, plugins, WooCommerce, themes. Turns out themes is the losing battle, but it's a whole article about all the information in and around that. If you like stats, go check this article out.
I'm not really sure I understand this entire article. Like, it's talking about how the themes weren't searched enough. Is it just like on the WordPress search, or is it on Google search? Like, I
have no idea where they get the numbers, but it's probably Google stats. It's probably a Google or search engine stat numbers, because the WordPress search function is an absolutely useless piece of crap.
It really is.
We know that. You know, they couldn't keep good stats if their life depended on it.
It's sad too, because they're the search function on WordPress. They could easily just grab a freaking plugin that gives you way better search results.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. It's really funny because it should be in the core, but it's not. But what it is it's showing that themes in particular, themes are not being searched for as often anymore. And it's probably due to Gutenberg, which is now got the Gutenberg theme built into it. More people are moving to just using Gutenberg, and a few high-end theme and theme builders that produced really good pages. So the themes themselves, I've noticed themes, like I was even looking at a site I built like 4 years ago, and I used an off theme, and it's like, wow, why did I build that? But it was probably the best choice at the time. And I used to use multiple types of themes, but now I don't. I use the builders, which allows me to use a blank theme and move on from there. Okay, the next article we've got here. This one here is more for you marketing people or people building a website for marketing. It is an article for 9 tips to create a landing page that really converts. And this is kind of important when you're building out a website where you're going to be selling stuff on. You want people to land on a page that inspires your visitors to take action and buy whatever it is you're selling. And this is a good article that analyzes building out a web page, the benefits, different types of pages, how to choose which content to go in, you know, which one looks better than another, such as one of their samples here. It's pretty much the same image, same button. The difference is become a master chef or virtual cooking classes taught by Michelin star chefs. You know, it's a matter of word usage to inspire people to do something. You know, the better the word usage, the more inspiration it is. So it's a really good, interesting article. I've skimmed through it. I may put a little more time into it because I've got to put a little more effort into the Rogues Tavern to get that one selling more products. So that's pretty much all I got for the news. You got anything on that article?
Not really. I really like the way they explain things, because I'm still working on building things that they transfer really easily.
Yeah.
Hembian said, without reading the article, wouldn't the pandemic cause small businesses to scramble to go online, thus turbo boosting WooCommerce searches? If so, it should calm down in time.
Yeah, that's possible. I skimmed through the article. I didn't read the article detailed. And you're probably right. The pandemic would have caused small businesses to scramble for going online, because many of them did. They scrambled because they're suddenly faced with closure, but they could do curbside or other sales. So yeah, that would have boosted WooCommerce. I wasn't so much interested in the WooCommerce part of it as the fact that themes had dropped so flat. That was what I found most interesting in it. I didn't
Well,
really.
when you're scrambling, you just kind of use whatever you first get too. So
Yeah.
I could see that.
But you'd think, a lot of people start to think, well, I need to build out a pretty website, usable website. Do I want a theme? Do I need this? Plugins, So it's really hard to say. So it may settle out. We'll know when our supreme overlords finally decide that we've been good enough to have part of our lives back again. All right, this is a segment here where we like to.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
Absolutely. We like to talk about the donators to the show. Those that support the show, you out there are producers who support the show in multiple ways. And this show, of course, doesn't work without you, the producers, as it is a value for value model. And I forgot to give credit to the No Agenda show for their inspiration of ideas and the occasional stolen sound clips.
Squirrel!
And this is where we want to acknowledge all the producers who have supported the show in various ways over the last week. And we give a shout out first off to the artists. And now that we have the new artwork area, and I went and closed that window without forgetting that I needed it, because I wanted to showcase this week's artwork. And this week's artwork comes to us from Angel Lemieux, and it is for At the End of a Long Road. So we see how nicely displayed this brings this art up for everyone to look at right there on the page. So thanks a lot, Angel. I really greatly appreciate you. You've been supporting us with artwork for well over a year. In fact, I think most of those 100 pieces of art are yours. So, but we do have a few other artists in there now, so it's really happy to see those, and hopefully we'll start to see more competition among the artists in the months to come. So thank you very much, Angel. Greatly appreciate that. And I'd like to go at this point here where
It's time to donate to WP Plugins. A to Z.
absolutely. I'd like to recognize the supporters and donors of the show, those who give us cash. And this is a point where if you donate $50 or more, you get a note read out in the show and links to wherever you want those links to go to. Right now, we don't have anyone, but we're looking hopeful that we'll start to see some of them coming out there. I am still pimping out my daughter here, and this is your last chance to get her for $400. If you want to see her pretty little mug in the live stream, $400 donation. It's going to go up next week. So keep that in mind. Other than that, we'll just keep her as a pretty little voice that sounds good in the background.
I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Yeah. And for those of you who come in under $50, you know who you are. Thank you very much. Those small donations do help. And we do have a few of those. They come in on a weekly or monthly basis, small donations. And I greatly appreciate them. They don't put any money in our pocket, but they do help offset the cost of the show just a little bit. If you'd like to donate to the show, hey, reach out. Just go to WPPlugins, A2Z.com/donate to donate to the show. You want to go donate artwork, just go to the A to Z Plugins art generator. You can submit articles, news, and information through the contact forms, or submit plugin suggestions for reviews through the contact forms. And I think I'll get inspired and build out a single page where all those links can be found in one spot. So thank you very much to everyone out there. And to those of you who have hired me because of the show, thank you very much. That is as good as supporting the show. And I'll give you a shout out if you like, but I don't normally shout out my clients. All right. Well, this is where we move along to the point that everybody shows up to the show for. And you might ask, why do I play that sound? Well, because years ago, it used to be harder to find the location in the show. Some people skip over all the beginning stuff, which has good content, but they just want to hear about the plugins. So if they fast forward to this point here, they can jump right to the plugins. So, all right. This week here, ClassicPress options. What do I got in ClassicPress options? I actually have a ClassicPress options. And it's very much thank you to Mike over at Savvyfi.com. So thank you very much, Mike. I greatly appreciate this. And Mike has a little note that goes with it. In the morning, my name is Mike, and I wanted to help with the value for value model, so here is a ClassicPress plugin review for the show. Sorry if it's a little short. Hopefully it's okay for the show. Hey, anything is great for the show, Mike, or anyone who wants to submit. I don't care if it's a small encyclopedia or just a quick short note, anything that helps out with providing us with content, especially for ClassicPress. So here's what Mike had to say about it. The plugin is the utility plugin by Code Potent. And we've talked a lot about him over the last couple of years since ClassicPress came into existence. This week for ClassicPress plugins, we will review the utility plugin by Code Potent. This plugin was created to allow you to add code snippets and tweaks to your ClassicPress site without modifying your functions PHP file in your theme. On its own, the plugin doesn't do anything when you first download it until you add your own custom code snippets. But by using a plugin like this, you will be keeping your custom code in its own plugin that will not be overwritten when you update your theme, and you will be able to easily deactivate your custom code by simply deactivating this plugin. The utility plugin by Code Potent can be downloaded at, link is in the show notes, and while you are there, also check out the other ClassicPress plugins. If you are new to using code snippets, Code Potent also has a good blog post about the advantages of using a plugin versus adding the code to your functions PHP, along with examples for adding your own snippets and making this plugin your own. While using this plugin template may be a little more a template may be a little more advanced for some members of WP Plugins A to Z. I feel that most members will benefit from using this for their customizations. This plugin is completely free, and I give it a 5 dragon rating. Thanks a lot, Mike. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to do that for us.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty awesome plugin.
Yeah, it is. All right, and also ClassicPress stuff, the usual, ClassicPress resources, links to the forums, and other bits and pieces in the show notes. So onward, forward to WordPress plugins. First one I have for you out the gate is called Contest Gallery, photo contest plugin for WordPress. This is the plugin I used to make the new art generator for WP plugins. It's a really great plugin. It's got a free and pro version. I used the free version. I'd love to get the pro version. I just don't have the cash at the moment. It's not that much. It's only $49, but $49 is $49. Okay, let's face it. Unless you're making money off of spending money, it's usually not a good thing to do. So I'll hold off until either they give me a free one and they get lots of promotion out of it, or I justify the added expense for the added functions, because it does give you some great functions. First off, as you looked at and you saw when I showed it off in the beginning, you get the ability with a form that you embed via shortcode that allows people to upload their photos. Well, the registration part of the form is part of the pro version. So what did I do? I went and added a membership plugin so I could bypass it, and I wrapped that form inside a membership tag. So I kind of cheated there so that I could still force people to register without paying for the time, paying for the money, paying for the extra plugin on it. But there's other things that the premium version does. The free version allows you to have multiple galleries, create one gallery with multiple categories. It gives you the voting options. You can turn those things on or off. It was designed, of course, for those that want to run a photo contest, and so that their users can submit their photos and people can vote on the photos. When the person who submits a photo is a logged in user and they submit the photo, they get a gallery that they can look at that will just see their uploads that they've uploaded to the site. There's a whole lot that this plugin does. I've only touched the surface on what it does right now, getting it basically set up and functioning. I only put a couple 3 hours into what I was doing yesterday just to get this far with it. Once I get further along with it and get it even more fine-tuned, it's even better. But all in all, it's a fantastic plugin. I like the free version. I would love to give it a 5, but because it's got a premium attached to it, I've got to give it a 4 dragon rating. But who knows? I'll get the premium version. I'll come revisit this again, and we'll crank it up to 5. But go check it out. Contest Gallery, photo contest plugin for WordPress. A really great plugin, offers a lot of tools.
That sounds like, wow. That's all I can really say. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's the plugin I've been looking for the last couple of years. And funny thing is, the sad thing is, this plugin has been around for years. At least when I went and read the research, it's been around for about 6 years. Has less than 2,000 active installs. This should be installed on multiple places. I don't think people understand how many options it can be used for. Plus, these guys here, they've got it tagged as contest, gallery, and photo contest. It's no wonder I didn't find it.
Yeah.
Because I was always looking for a photo gallery or for user upload photo gallery, and that's where they should be using tags like that to get it found in the WordPress search. I finally did a search through DuckDuckGo, which is what revealed it to me.
Huh.
So it's like, it was really funny that I had to go through DuckDuckGo to find it. I could never find it on WordPress search. Even after searching through, I think yesterday I was sitting there searching. I went through I think you get a result when you search for user upload galleries. You get a result of 49 pages of stuff. I went through 30 pages before I just gave up, and then went to DuckDuckGo, and in the top 3 results was this one. So yeah, it's a really great plugin. Is what I've been looking for, and now that I found it, I'll make the best use of it. And who knows, man? We reach out to them. They give me a free copy to use on the website. We'll promote them in every website, or in every show. Not every website. In every show, we'll promote them in every show as the sponsors for our art generator.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Got to reach out to them first and see what they have to say. All right.
So, the first one I have is Login as User. This is a pretty nifty plugin. It allows you to log into the front end very easily in order to check data like the shopping cart to make sure all is well. Once you install it, you just go over to the users, to the All Users section, and you can choose any user to log in as on the front end. You click it, and it logs you into the front end as though you were that user. So you can go and you can test your cart, you can test whatever you need to make sure that from the front end and a user's perspective, it's working. There are basic settings for this where you are able to choose the URL you will be directed to while signed in as one of the users. You can choose the login names, you can choose first name, both names, etc. And you can choose the toolbar's position, because there's this nice little black toolbar that appears at the top, so you can click the different things that you need to check. Very cool. Unfortunately, it does have a upgrade version, so a pro version, so I can only rate it at 4, but what I got to play with there when I was testing this out, very, very awesome. Definitely go check this out, the login user.
Absolutely.
I rate this at 4 dragons.
Very cool. Yeah, that's always a useful thing to have a good way to log in as a user when you're testing out. It's especially useful on things like membership sites and other places. So you can see a user says, oh, something's wrong and they can't do it. Well, you go log in as them and see what's happening. So, and that way you don't need their password to do it. It just brings you through the loop.
Exactly. This is definitely a pretty cool plugin.
Okay, the next one I have for you here is called WT Smart Coupons for WordPress.
For WooCommerce.
Or for WooCommerce, sorry. WordPress, WooCommerce, tomato. The hell. You don't have WooCommerce without WordPress. All right, so sure. WT Smart Coupons for WooCommerce. Let's get the title right. Okay, so if you're running a WooCommerce site, sooner or later you're going to want to do coupons. Now there is a built-in way in WooCommerce for creating coupons. It's pretty basic, straightforward. You create a simple coupon, it gives you a number, people use the number. Well, I recently a site I built for some friends. They needed to create coupons. They wanted something a little better than the default way. Well, what this one does for you is it allows you to go in and create a coupon that is automatically applied when people hit the checkout, versus having to remember a coupon code or copy a coupon code. You can also assign specific coupons to specific users. You can also set it up so that people can buy time or buy credits on your website via the coupon that they could then give off to somebody else. There's a whole bunch of little features, and these are all in the free version of the plugin. And it also gives you the ability to design your coupons to make them look fancy on your site as fancy pictures or something, instead of just a plain old number. kind of cool, useful. I installed it on my friend's site, and I installed it on the Rogue's Tavern so I could start working with it. It's pretty decent. Now, it does have a premium version, which has more of the features you might want to use. So, unfortunately, we had to knock it down a notch for that one problem. Other than that, a pretty great plugin for creating coupons for your WooCommerce site. I give it a 4-dragon rating until I get around to paying for the premium version. Go check it out, the WT Smart Coupon for WooCommerce plugin.
You're choosing long-named ones today.
I did. I was trying to outdo you.
Well, I seem to have only chosen short names, so you totally win. The next one I've got is Recipe Key. I was actually pretty excited about this when I first saw it. It has the gluten-free, dairy-free titles. It's got little icons that go with everything, which is actually really great because a lot of people who have allergies, like me, we're kind of trained to look for the little picture first. And if you can't find the little picture, you have to scan again, look for the words. But the picture, having the little, like, worldwide icons that go for no gluten or no dairy, they're really useful to have. And unfortunately, when I activated this, though, I found that using it was not really all that easy. I was kind of completely underwhelmed by this plugin, to be honest. I went into the settings and was looking around, and where they said that some features are locked and can be accessed by upgrading to the Recipe Key Premium, what they really mean is that you are allowed to have 4 out of the 19 styles until you pay for the upgrade. You also don't get to use any of the settings for the styles until you bought the premium version. And you get ads until you pay for the premium version.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was really excited when I first saw this, and then it just sort of flopped when I activated it.
Yeah.
I rated it 3 dragons.
Yeah, that's too bad. I kind of like the idea myself. The recipe plugin I'm using is great in the free version. Gives you pretty much everything you need. It doesn't give you these little icons, which would be a cool and useful thing. I don't even think they have these icons available in their premium version. But yeah, if you want a good recipe plugin, just holler at me. The one I'm using at the Rogue's Tavern, fantastic. Out of all the recipe plugins, and I've used a lot of recipe plugins over the years. I've created a lot of recipe websites, and I finally settled on a plugin that is top notch in its free version. And the premium version, I'll probably be buying in the next 6 months to add in the additional functions that it offers.
Yeah, I was really sad when this one would just turn out to be so
maybe
not overwhelming, very underwhelming.
Send the suggestion of the recipe keys to the developers of the plugin I've got and see if they can add them in. All right, the last one I have for you here today is called the Regenerate Thumbnails Advanced. Now, every once in a while, and sooner or later, if you're developing websites and you take over a website and you're going to create a new theme or put a new theme on a website over an old theme, you're going to have to regenerate all the thumbnails. Now, the primary plugin everyone uses out there is called Regenerate Thumbnails. It's the most popular one. It's the one everyone grabs first. It works very well. Nothing wrong with it. Well, this time around, I thought, well, let me try something a little different. I want to see what this one is. And besides, I need another plugin for the next show. And this one here works just as well as the other one, except it gives you a couple more functions that the other one doesn't give you for customizing the regeneration of the thumbnails you got to do. Now, depending on how many pictures you have in the site, it can take a while. And depending on the host that the site is on, it could crash partway through. So that's something to be aware of. And that'll happen with any Regenerate Thumbnail plugin because it's trying to regenerate. You got to remember, for every image you upload into a WordPress website, you upload one image, it automatically creates anywhere from 3 to 15 additional images, because it creates all the little smaller images that are used throughout the site, all the thumbnails that are used in there. And every once in a while, you got to regenerate thumbnails because every theme has its own specific sizes for thumbnails. And so you'll have to, once you put a new theme in, you have to run a plugin like this to regenerate all the thumbnails so that the theme you're using can now access the proper size thumbnails for displaying of content. And that's where these plugins come in real handy. And if you got a website like the one I recently did, it had 570 some odd images in it, and it took 45 minutes for it to regenerate the thumbnails. because it was regenerating. I think there's a total of 9 thumbnails that had to be regenerated for each image. So it takes a while, but it's well worthwhile. This plugin here turned out to be fantastic, worked very well, is absolutely free. And of course, we give those a top 5 Dragon rating. Go check it out. The Regenerate Thumbnails Advance.
Last one I've got is TLC No Update. I think this has been covered by us before, but I couldn't remember.
I don't remember it.
I think it's probably a good one to have. What it is you activate it and it stops all of the auto updates from happening. You have to, once this is activated, you have to go in there and update things manually. You just don't get a choice. If you want things to start updating automatically again, you just deactivate the plugin. There's no real settings for it or anything. It stops the auto updates, which I think is pretty awesome. I would love to hear back on what people out there think about this plugin. So if you go check it out, that'd be awesome. I rate this at 5 dragons because it's totally free.
Cool. It's one that I may have to look at using on a couple of my sites just to prevent the auto updates from occurring instead of going in and writing in the code.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the plugins we've got for you. This show still currently brought to you by... Are you tired of the same old web hosting? Not having the resources you need to run your website properly? Having a lack of control? Then you need johnoverall.com web hosting, providing you with all the resources you need to smoothly run your WordPress website or ClassicPress website. With strict limits on the number of clients allowed per server, johnoverall.com provides high quality, fast server performance. Visit johnoverall.com for web hosting that won't slow you down. Absolutely nothing but the finest quality web hosting out there. All right. This is the point here where we like to cover listener feedback, you the producers, but there is no feedback from you. So I guess everything is perfect in our little world. So we'll assume that everybody loves us and nobody hates us right now.
Works for me.
Yeah, I like it. And of course, we have...
It's a contest, WordPress plugins from A to Z.
Absolutely. We have our contest powered by the Simple Giveaways plugin. Make sure you go check them out. And that jingle came from Steve Goodtime and Brant Matthews. Thank you very much for that. I do want to thank Charlie for all of his hard work on keeping the contest flowing for the show. So thank you very much, Charlie. Really greatly appreciate it. We do have a minor complaint for everyone out there. I know people are downloading this show. I don't know how many are listening to it this far into the show, but if you are, hey, enter the contest. Even if you don't need or want the plugin we're giving away, enter it. Come on, folks, enter it. Show us you're listening. Show you've got some excitement for what we're doing. You know, we go through a lot of effort to get these contests. Well, Charlie goes through a lot of effort. You know, it takes a lot of time, energy, reaching out to the developers, negotiating with developers, getting the keys, putting it together, writing up the contest, then setting it up, you know, me hollering it out at the end. You know, we have an auto generation, which auto selects the winner. Then they reach out to me. I got to reach out to Charlie. Charlie's got to get them all the contact info. It's a lot of work for each contest, folks. Please take a moment and show some consideration and say, enter the contest. You know, you don't have to want the plugin. If you win it, you can always give it back. If you win it, you can always sit on the license. You never know. You might need it. Come on, help us out here, folks. Show us some love. That's basically it. Show us some love. All right, this week here, we do have a contest, and the contest is for the Equalized Digital Accessibility Checker Pro. And this is a plugin to automate the checking of your website for accessibility, making sure you're filling in or dealing with the most key components that your site needs to make it accessible to those who have troubles finding stuff on the internet, those that have to use machine readers, talking devices, you know, they have trouble moving a mouse, etc. All of the disabled that are accessing the internet now because it's the biggest place of find stuff, making your site more accessible to them. This is a plugin that could help you out. And if you're working for a larger corporation or company, you might want to really consider this because you could be facing some major lawsuits because they don't sue small people because there's no money in it. At any rate, go check this plugin out. It's a really great one. And go enter the contest over at WPPlugins, A2Z.com/contest. And if you want to hear more about this plugin, go listen to the interview I did with Amber Hind from Equalize Digital. And it's a really great interview where we go in and talk about this plugin and more. So go check it all out, folks, and go enter the contest. Okay, this episode here, I covered up the following plugins. Contest Gallery, photo contest plugin for WordPress, which I gave a 4 to. Smart Coupons for WooCommerce, which I gave a 4 to. And the Regenerate Thumbnails Advanced, which I gave a 5 to.
Gotta say, you say coupons funny.
Coupons?
You say coupon.
Coupons. Well, that's the American way of saying it. It's coupon. It's my English is a bastardization of Southern slang, California, Washington State, Canadian. It's a bastardization of every place I've ever lived in my life.
Yeah, mine too. But I guess I have fewer places I've lived. Yeah,
well, some places you learn to pronounce things better than others.
Yeah, like coupon.
Coupon.
All right, so I covered login as user, which I gave 4. No, I gave a 5 to that, didn't I?
No, you gave a 4. You gave 2 4. You gave a 4, 3, and a 5.
Okay, so login as user, which I gave a 4 to.
Yeah.
Recipe key, which I gave a 3 to, and TLC no update, which I gave a 5 to. That's what I was thinking. TLC update.
Yeah. All right. All right, a couple of quick reminders, and we like to get these reminders out of the way because we're going to do the Q&A segment of the show with Amber, and partway through the Q&A segment, we drop off for those of you listening here on the podcast, and we continue it on the YouTube stream, and if you want to catch it, you got to come back to the YouTube stream and catch the other half of it. So quick reminders is there's still no planned meetups, and I'm working on a meetup that will happen in mid-summer sometime, and as I get closer to that, we'll let you know. There is a Rogues Tavern event for the Hike Club for Men. You go to roguestavern.com, Hike Club for Men, to find out more about that. And if you're not getting enough of us, you want to hear more of me and Amber jabbering on and talking about something besides plugins, go check out the roguestavern.com/live or podcast for the podcast we do every Tuesday evening, live at 9 o'clock PST on our YouTube channel. Okay, that's it. It is time for...
It's question and answer time.
With Amber.
So, first of all, if anyone out there who's listening has any questions that they'd like to send in and have me read, then send them over to me at amber@wppro.ca. I'll get them in here, I'll read them out, and you'll get your answer. So first question I've got for you is, I've seen sites with a minimum of plugins and sites with a lot of plugins. Is there a normal amount of plugins or perhaps an optimum number of plugins to have?
That is a question that has been asked since the advent of plugins. Okay, and for a while there was a major argument in the WordPress community about 8 or 9 years ago, give or take.
Really?
Well, it was a major argument because, you got too many plugins. That's why it's running so slow. Well, no. You should put all that code in your functions file. And the argument came back, well, if you put all the code in your functions file, isn't that the same as having a plugin? Well, yeah. So why would it make any difference? And it's like, oh, well, you see the argument, the plugins, there's no minimum there. I guess, there's no minimum amount of plugins, because you can, when you load WordPress up, it has 0 plugins. And at that point there, you can use it as a blog posting service. So you can just start creating content and it'll create really nice content. It just has no functionality without plugins. So there's no minimum. Maximum, I've had my website at one point, I had a website that was running 125 plugins.
And none of them interact with each other, shutting each other down?
No, it ran fine. Eventually what happened was, new plugins came along, or I decided I didn't need the functionality anymore. And over time, some of them started to fail, and then they started to have problems. But at one point, I had 125 plugins. So right now, currently, no, what do I have right now? Let's see. Currently on my primary site, I have 37 plugins, 32 active on my primary site, which is down because it was up. On the WP plugins site, we have 49 active plugins. I have 57 installed, but I have 49 active. So, at one point in time, like not very long ago, I had like 45, and sometimes I've had as many as 70. You install the plugins you need for the functionality you need if you don't want to write the code yourself.
Okay.
And that's really all the limitations are. The biggest thing with plugins, of course, is that, the more plugins you have, the better the chance of them conflicting with each other. Because each person has their own way of solving the problems. For every problem that needs to be solved in code, there's about 100 different ways to approach it and solve it. And that's the biggest thing about plugins is sometimes it's like I've had times where I've gotten a plugin and it conflicts with stuff, but I go look and I find another plugin that gives me the same function. I disable the one that's causing the problem. I enable the one that I brought in, and it works fine with everything else. So that's the biggest thing about plugins. So there is no minimum and maximum. They used to say, "Oh, don't run any more than 20 plugins." Like, bullshit. I used to argue that all the time, and then to prove a point, I ran my plugins up as high as I could get, just to prove a point that it had no impact on the site. And that's the biggest thing is that it doesn't matter. It's whatever functionality you need. If you need to use a plugin for it, you use a plugin for it. If you can get your code written, you write your own code for it. But it's basically the same thing, because if you write your own code, you got to stick it in your functions PHP file or use a plugin such as the one we just talked about from Code Potent that allows you to put your custom code in this plugin, and then you have a plugin. So your code goes into a plugin or your code goes into a function file. So either way, you're using a plugin.
I guess in essence, an optimum number of plugins would be however you need to make your site run the way you want. That's
exactly it. That's the optimal number of plugins, is the number of plugins you need to make it run the way you want. Now, there is one caveat thing you got to do, and I'm not adhering to best practices at the moment. I usually do, but any plugins that you aren't using that are deactivated, if you have no intentions of reactivating them, you should remove them from your site. And the reason you remove them, if you're not intending to use them, is that they become a security risk. Because since they're deactivated, they have no impact on the way your site runs, but they could still be an access point for hackers. I've had it happen to me once before in the past where they hacked a plugin that wasn't being used, and they used that point to hack the rest of the website.
Okay.
So that's the reason why, because if they hack a plugin that you're actively using, it'll break your website. And you'll know immediately.
So, is it possible for them to hack one that is activated and do the same thing?
No, that's what I just said. If they hack and activate an active plugin, it will usually break your website. Because the plugin's providing certain functionality for your website, and suddenly that functionality doesn't work. So you go dig into it. Why is it not working? What's wrong with the plugin? And you discover the plugin's been hacked. So you can often prevent them from doing more damage to your site.
Hemdian said, I have 30 and 36 plugins. The only issues have been conflicts between different Gutenberg block add-on sets. So I just use one. Yeah,
well, that's probably going to be a problem for a while until some standardization comes around Gutenberg block sets. Gutenberg block add-ons are really, they're still new. They're only a couple of years old, so the standardizations of stuff haven't fully come out yet. Usually takes a few years for standardizations to hit. But yeah, so that's really all there is. The optimum number is the number of plugins you need to get all the functionality you want for your site. Now, there was once upon
without killing your site.
Without killing your site. Well, there was once upon a time where I used to throw in every plugin I thought I would need and build my site, and then I learned that, no, that's the wrong way to do it. You get overwhelmed. So now I build the site with, basically I start with 5 plugins, the primary essentials that I need. There's 5 basic plugins that go into every site I build. Security plugin, an anti-spam plugin, a couple of them, I can't remember them precisely. But then I start adding, I want this functionality. Well, I'll go find a plugin for this functionality. I need that functionality. And I just keep, and as I build up, it's like all the functionality that's now in WP plugins with the art gallery. That's... Mm-hmm. And when I added that, I took out some other functionality that was duplicating that work. So it's just the way it all works.
So my next question.
Okay.
Is there a way to tell if a plugin will work with the ones you already have before you download and activate it? Or is it just upload and hope every time?
It's upload and hope every time.
Oh, that sucks.
There's no way to know about it. The nice thing about it, you don't know if it's going to work unless you're a code writer and you can go read all the code. And there's lots of files in a plugin sometimes, so you don't want to try and read the code and see how it's going to interact with all the other code unless you have a photographic memory which can remember 10,000 pages of text on cue. The simplest and easiest thing to do is you upload the plugin and activate it. It's either going to break your site immediately or it's going to work. And if it breaks your site immediately and you get the great white screen of death and you can't get into your site anymore, this is where you need to know how to use FTP. Because what you have to do is you FTP into your website and you go in, you find that plugin and you go change the name of the folder and it automatically deactivates the plugin. Just by changing the name of the folder for the plugin. It causes it to be deactivated and you can get back into your website and then you can delete the plugin from the website. And it doesn't work with my website. Now, if you really, 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 really need that plugin, then you're going to have to hire a programmer to debug it and see what's going on as to why you need it. But chances are, for every function you need, I find that there's usually anywhere from a minimum of 3 to 5 plugins for it to, like, I've seen as many as 60 or 70 plugins for the same functionality. Mm-hmm. So there's always a plugin option for whatever functionality you're looking for. Now, it's not always a free plugin, but there's always a plugin for it. And so the only way to deal with it is you upload it and hope. You'll find out in the first second after you activate it if it's going to work or not.
Not always. That's my next question. Hemdian said plugins are Russian roulette.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, they are. All right. So this will be your last question. Oh no, you've got 2 more questions, don't you?
No, I've only got 1 question.
Okay, so read this question out. We'll play the in-show credits, and if you want to have the answer to this next question, you got to come back to the YouTube channel.
So this is when I was checking out plugins, and I ended up downloading and activating a plugin, and when I went to open a post, I got the message, you need to have the content brought forward. When I tried to open it, it wouldn't open. And I had this happen to me the other night. A message just sort of pops up, and you're unable to open the post at all. It turned out to be a plugin causing the issue, but what is the issue when that's happening?
Okay, well, that'll be a very entertaining one to address, and we're going to let my girl take us on out of here, and I'm going to enjoy my shot, and we'll come back after the credits and answer this question. So off we go.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com.
We need a little hat.
And while you're there subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at wppluginsa2z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Okay. All right. Well, let's reiterate that question one more time. What's going on with a post when it has the message you need to have content brought forward when trying to open a post? I had that happen to me the other night. A message just sort of pops up and you are unable to open the post. It turned out to be a plugin causing the issue, but what is the issue? Okay, I've never seen that message in 11 years working on WordPress. I've never ever seen that message. I would have gone.
When I was doing, sorry, just to interrupt you for a moment. When I was doing research trying to answer the question myself, I got something like 11 different ways of solving this until a very obscure comment from someone said, start checking out your plugins. Mm-hmm. This can be caused by plugins as well. But everything else is like, go and there's this whole long list. I can't remember all the steps that I tried doing. None of them worked. It was just a plugin issue. But apparently this is an issue that does happen in WordPress, and it has happened for a long time. They have all kinds of steps on WordPress itself. It's weird.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is, it's like anytime I get a random error, I automatically assume it's a plugin conflict. Mm-hmm. Okay, because one of the things you can do at any point in time, you can deactivate all of your plugins on your WordPress website simply by going into FTP up, go to the plugin folder, rename the plugin folder to something else. I usually rename my WP plugins folder to WP plugins-broke, and it automatically disables all the plugins. And now you can load up any part of your site and look at it without the plugins, which makes a site look awful ugly sometimes. But you find out real quick if it's a plugin. And 9 out of 10 times, that's exactly what it is. It's a plugin. So, okay, now I know it's in the plugin folder. So now what I do is I put the name of the plugin folder back the way it belongs. And then I go through and I start analyzing which plugin it might be. You always start with the last plugin you uploaded to the site. You know, if you can remember what your most recent plugin uploaded to the site is, you start there, disable that to do it. But yeah, I've never seen this, and even with a quick search on that term here, I don't even see that come up in the search function for that particular term.
What do you think was causing it? Because it's just a weird issue.
It was a permissions issue. It sounds like a permissions issue. The plugin was trying to take permissions it couldn't take, or it was blocking permissions you needed to post your post. Did you figure out what plugin it was that was causing your problem?
It was a shortcode.
Okay, so the shortcode wasn't being registered correctly, is basically what it probably boiled down to. If it's a shortcode
I hadn't even used the I hadn't. The plugin wasn't in use. It was just activated.
That's all it takes. You don't have to use it. All it takes, once a plugin's activated, that code is called into the mix every time the pages are loaded. Okay, so as soon as you activate a WordPress plugin, now the code from that plugin is included in the mix of what WordPress does. One of the things that you might want to look at doing is go look at, there's a post out there. It's been years since I've seen it, but it was a post on the hierarchy of all the files called and the order they are called in WordPress. From the time you generate a page and it starts with the WordPress core files, theme files, plugin files, etc., etc. And it tells you how it calls files in. It was a really interesting post. It's been years since I've seen it, so I don't even know if it still exists on the internet. But there's probably still something out there like it. But it's a good to have an understanding of how WordPress calls all its content together, because it basically, think of it like making a cake. You take and you throw a whole bunch of ingredients in a bowl, you stir them with some water, and you pour them in a pan, and all of a sudden after it's been in the oven for a few minutes, you have a cake. That's basically what WordPress does. It grabs all the ingredients from all the plugins, the themes, the core files, and it grabs all the necessary files, mixes them all up, and spits out a page that you can understand. So
I was just reading what Hemdean wrote.
yeah, okay. Let me. I'm going to address that one. You can read out. You can read out what he wrote. Go ahead, read it out.
Before going down the FTP route, there's a diagnostic mode feature in the backend site health that will temporarily disable plugins unless the site is really foobarred.
Yeah, well, 8 out of 10 times my site is so foobarred, I can't get to the temporary disable plugins mode. I find I always have my FTP, whenever I'm working on a site, actually working on a site, I always have my FTP program open. So it's like a matter of seconds. And of course, I have 4 monitors here, so I've got stuff on all these different monitors. You know, if I had space for a 5th monitor, I'd have a 5th monitor. But I always have some, and it only takes me 10 seconds to pop into the FTP and then change that. It's much faster that way. It saves me a lot of time. I know I still do things a lot of bass-ackward ways to people, but I can do things bass-ackwardly, shorter time than it takes them to do it these correct routes, such as the temporarily disabled plugins mode in the site health. I actually tried that once and it didn't want to work for me. You know, don't know why, it just didn't. And I was like, yeah, fine. I'll do it my way. At least I know my way works.
So the FTP route, I use cPanel. Like whenever I'm working on a site, I have the cPanel open so I can fix it if I break it.
cPanel is just as good as FTP because through cPanel you can gain direct access to the files. FTP is just another way to gain access to the files. I just don't always have my cPanel open, but I always have the FTP program open. And
I started making it a habit when I'm working on the sites that I'm experimenting on, just always have my cPanel open too.
Yeah, well, it's easy. Anything you can do to make your life easy, whatever method you develop are going to be the best methods for you because eventually you'll have them down to such a science. They're less time than these other methods. And that's what it boils down to. Whatever works best for your brain is how to work it. That's why we get back to the same problem of for every problem, there are hundreds of solutions because every brain has a different way of looking at the problem and coming up with a solution for it.
That reminds me of raising kids. There's no one way to raise kids, but you know,
there is.
The way you're taught.
You tie them up nice and tightly and bound, and you throw the rope up over the tree, and then you haul them up. That's the best way to raise them up. And then
Velcro's fun.
Velcro works well. You know, put them in a Velcro suit and stick Velcro on the walls and the ceiling, and give them a real bouncy bed. It's all good.
What's really great is you actually pay money to put them in a Velcro suit and go have them stick to the walls.
I know that's what's really funny now. Somebody actually took that to heart and made a business out of it. You got to love entrepreneurs. All right, well that pretty much wraps that. That's a good set of questions, and it's things that a lot of new people to WordPress run into when they're starting to run into problems as they load things up. I broke it. How'd I break it? I don't know. What'd you do? I just installed a plugin and it all went to hell. I have a white screen of death.
Or updated the plugin.
Or updated. Updated's my that's the bane of mine. That's why I manually update each and every plugin one at a time.
Yeah.
And every time I update the plugin, I test the page. Yes, it takes me longer to do it, but it saves me so much time for when a plugin breaks. I know exactly what went wrong, what plugin to put back to the previous version.
Oh, I had a really weird thing. It's Elementor Pro add-ons.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks the site now. I updated it, and it now breaks the site.
Yeah, well, I need to figure out what it is.
I shot a message to Elementor. I never heard back, though.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to see what happens. I haven't had it break my site. I've been updating this stuff recently with no problem, and... Are you sure? You got to make sure you're going to Elementor, because if it's the paid the premium add-ons.
Yep.
Okay, that's not at Elementor. That's at premium add-ons. That's a completely different company.
I clicked their link.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it hasn't been breaking mine. Now they did have a problem. Okay, this is an interesting one, and this happened when they did a semi-major upgrade about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And if you updated the pro version of it before you updated the free version of it, it broke the site. Because
that could be what I did.
The pro version won't work unless it has the latest version of the free version.
And it breaks your site.
And I did that. I did that twice on 2 sites before I realized, I've got to make sure these update in order.
Okay.
So yeah, that one there, I broke 2 sites. And what the hell did I just do? And I looked at them. Oh, okay. And then I went, oh, okay. Well, you need the free version to update first before you update to the pro version. Update the pro version.
I see.
Yeah.
And and the free version is first because of the alphabetizing.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't work, and and I ended up having, because I've got a license for it, I went to their website, downloaded both copies of their files, and then I manually updated them via FTP.
Oh, okay.
So that's what you can do sometimes. Sometimes when you upload a plugin in it and it breaks your site, sometimes there's nothing wrong with the plugin, but the FTP process of uploading corrupted a file. And if you re-upload the files, or if you manually upload the files through an FTP program, it gets clean files in there and it works well. And something that's little known to people that use FTP programs is there's 2 ways to upload files. There's ASCII, and I forget the other one. There's 2 ways, and sometimes people will upload files in the wrong transfer type, and the files get massively corrupted on their way up because it's the wrong transfer type. And that used to be a major problem years ago because of the encoding that people would use on their files. And it was a major problem for a while. You had to guess, which way do I upload this as ASCII, or do I upload it as something else? And it was really kind of funny. All right, well, that wraps everything. I think we'll call that a show. That's all good. Let's pull us out of here with some Days of Thunder.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
And there we have it. Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Have yourselves a good day now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.
All right.